Hey guys, Albert with Rescue Roots. Today we're going to be showing you how to repot an orchid. So I went to Kroger and I got this really beautiful orchid. Look at these roots. They're amazing. I love whenever they look like that. But essentially it means it needs more space. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to transplant it into a bigger orchid pot. So let's go ahead and talk about some anatomy, I guess, of the orchid. So the roots are covered in kind of like this spongy material called velium. That's what holds the moisture in the roots. The actual root is just kind of like a thin string that's in the middle of the velium. So whenever the orchids are white or gray, the roots are white or gray, it means it needs water. And whenever they're green and juicy, that means that they're well watered. So just notice that that area is well watered. And what I want is I want to help this orchid stay hydrated. So what I'm going to do is give it more space so that way I can get those roots wet longer, so that way the orchid can drink water. Another thing about this orchid is the number of leaves it has. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It has 9 leaves. So this is a pretty mature orchid, even though it's smaller. One of the things that I will tell you is that some people will tell you not to repot an orchid that's in bloom because it'll stress it out. My experience is that it as long as you're gentle and not doing too much, it won't. You might lose some flowers, but at this point flowers aren't my only concern. I really want to care about the health of the orchid. Also, I just took off a little bud now shriveled and yellow. That was probably from bloom blast. That's whenever the orchid kind of changes environment and it stresses the plant out to where it doesn't bloom the flower. And then you can notice these are the flowers. These are blooms that are coming out pretty soon. So what I'm gonna do, this orchid has been watered, so the roots and the medium are wet. This medium specifically is sphagnum moss. Anytime you with orchids, usually you'll find them in some orchid bark or sphagnum moss. I found that either are okay. I really like sphagnum moss. I repot mine mostly in sphagnum moss with a little bit of orchid bark. The reason why I like sphagnum moss is because it stays wetter longer. So that way, I'm really bad at watering my plants more frequently than normal. So sphagnum moss stays longer, so I just wait until they dry out. This one has really good roots. One thing that I'm noticing is that the sphagnum moss that it has, it looks really nice and like not too damaged, not too dark green. Like if it were to have algae, it's still kind of fresh. It's not that tight, which is another good thing. Usually whenever it's like compacted, I will tend, oh no, a root fell off. That's okay. And right now I'm just kind of untangling these roots. They're kind of tangled up pretty good. This orchid has, I love the roots that it has. So you saw how we handled the orchid. It wasn't very rough, so I don't think that this would stress out the plant that much. I think if we had to do a lot of cutting, pruning, the orchid had a bunch of medium stuck to the roots, and I do agree that it would need maybe it would have been too aggressive to continue because it would stress out the plant. These roots are huge, so I don't even think it's gonna fit in here. So I'm actually gonna even pot it into a bigger pot. Give me a second and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, y'all. So I was deciding, instead of probably the 3-inch pot that I was gonna put in, I'm gonna actually put in a 5-inch. It's a really developed orchid with great root system, so I'm gonna just get it in there. What I'm gonna try. So I've been doing just mostly sphagnum moss, but I love using orchid bark. Orchid bark is this real woody medium that you can use to help make sure that it's aerated in the roots, so they don't stay too cramped up. So I'm just gonna kind of put some orchid bark at the bottom. I'm gonna place the orchid in the pot with what I'm gonna do is kind of wrap these roots in a root ball, just so they have something to kind of hold on to. And then I'm gonna put it into the pot. Notice that I'm trying to be airy with it. I'm not trying to shove anything in there to where it could like suffocate the orchid. I definitely want it to have as much air in it as possible, and I want these roots to really be in there, just because there's not really a wrong answer to having roots come out of the pot. It's okay if they do. A lot of people just don't like it because of the sightliness. I actually love it, but I just get scared because I don't want them to dry out. Wow, it's really nice. I really like using orchid bark because it helps you kind of like control where the orchid's gonna be in the container. Wow, that looks beautiful. Okay, that's my video today. Thank you all so much for watching.